So a couple things I want to address here real quick before we do introductions, guys. First off, this is going to be an amazing best of 3. Guaranteeing it right now. But Andrew Velos, I want to give a big shout out. Thank you for your $20 donation. You forgot to attach your Twitch name though, so I can't upgrade you to VIP status. So if you could let me know your Twitch name somehow, that'd be fantastic. Thank you to a couple other people who have donated $2 here and there as well. You guys rock. But the part 2 aside, we find ourselves in a fresh best of 3 in a really, really great. It'll probably be a great series. Now, I'm curious, how does he have this portrait without being in a clan?
I don't know, but it's awesome.
It is. All right, well, anyways, spawning the top left corner of the map. Sorry for delaying so long, guys. It's going to be the yellow Zerg player, SSanaEE.
Woo! All right. And his opponent in the bottom right, the red Protoss from EG. It's HuK.
Now, first off, I want to give big props to HuK playing this tournament. It really does feel we've had a lack of HuK in a lot of these sort of online cups, whether it's a weekly, whether it's a monthly. And he's a really talented player, and let's be honest, he's kind of like a community favorite for a lot, too. Let's not forget, a little bit handsome, I mean, on the side, but...
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. Of course, that doesn't really affect his gameplay. I'd be really excited to see him win this, though, because, you know, this might be the C Masters Cup. There's still so few North Americans who can take cups and winners, and I just want to give a big nod to his teammate, actually, Suppy, one of the only 2 players to have ever won a Zotac North American Cup before it closed its doors, so... Not a lot, again, very few North American winners, but a couple of them do seem to be from EG, as Xenociter's also been playing a lot of these cups too. So let's see if HuK can join the ranks of his fellow brothers, I guess, whatever you want to call them, his other evil geniuses.
Yes, certainly. I'm actually so stoked to be casting HuK, because I've never casted him before. I've casted SSanaEE once, I think. But this is going to be really awesome. And I also wanted to point out real quick, just at the start of the game there, when we were doing the introduction, SSanaEE actually bothered to scout the corners of his base for proxy gates. So already really smart moves from this guy.
I like that too, and it's not necessarily because he's expecting HuK to be a cheesy player. Like, there's some players like Stardust you should always do that against, right?
Yes.
But it's one of those, again, safe than sorry things, because HuK might not be known for cheese necessarily, but he's known for playing more of like an aggressive all-in style from ladder games. But that's what's kind of funny. A lot of the times, like, I think for the first 3 months of Heart of the Swarm, everyone thought HuK was this all-in player who couldn't do anything else. But that's because when he streamed, that's all he did. He didn't want people to see his real builds. And he's really smart in that regard. So I'm not sure what SSanaEE necessarily thinks of HuK, but again, scouting is smart. I really like that.
Yeah, certainly. It should be really good. So we do have that gateway expand, as we saw from HuK, grabbing his Nexus now. So I wonder what he's actually going to follow up with. I've got to say, I haven't seen all that many 4-gate pressures anymore from Protosses, so maybe he'll just stick to the usual, a couple of extra gates and head up towards some sort of tech path from there. But the Lings are here early, and he's going to be able to cancel his pylon, which is really cool and very frustrating for HuK, obviously.
Yeah, I mean, the Stalker's on the way, and the Mothership Core, I imagine, will be coming out soon. But, I mean, the reality is one Stalker can deal with Lings pretty easily, especially when they're slow Lings.
Let me just get a bit of a scout off, make sure that nothing strange is going on here. And going for the second one just to fix up the little bit that he didn't actually get to see. And I should probably get out of here with those Lings. I just want to lose them right off the bat, because you'd certainly like to keep something out of the front near here and be able to see what's coming out. But HuK's on the ball. He's not going to let him have it.
Yeah, well, this is a bit of a nuisance right now. We just see HuK cleaning it up with relative ease. Now, the kind of key thing moving forward into the game that HuK has to consider is SSanaEE is a player who I haven't seen a lot of his recent plays, so I don't know if he's going to be Swarm Host or not. And it's funny to say, because a lot of people might think, like, Swarm Hosts win games, everyone should just do Swarm Host. But there's a lot of Zerg players who are adamantly against them, whether it's out of principle or whether it's out of being uncomfortable using them. But this is a really good map for Swarm Host, and HuK, I'm pretty sure, is aware of that coming into this series.
Yeah, certainly. And he's actually going to prove me run completely and go for that 4 gates.
Wow.
In the early game.
I love 4 gates for knocking down a third, but SSanaEE's not taking down a third. So 4 gates to punish a natural, not necessarily the same level of ease, I feel.
Oh, wow. This is cool. He's actually going to get the Overlord, and SSanaEE's already supply blocked.
It's almost high ground vision, though. It does get away.
Oh, just barely. That's so painful. I was like, why isn't he making a second Overlord? He's going to lose it. But this guy, he's too good. Knew that it would get away, no problem, no extra mineral investment there. Getting a bunch of Lings now as he realizes that the 4-gate pressure is coming.
No, he didn't see the pylon.
Oh, he didn't?
Like, he knows there's 4 gates, but 4 gates for a Protoss player's kind of standard. It's the question of whether you use those gates or not. He didn't see the pylon, he didn't see the Zealots. HuK intentionally drew the Zealots towards the south to make sure he wouldn't, but now it's all been revealed. The Spine Crawler's on the way, but it's, I don't know, too late, I kind of feel. It'll finish up for sure, but the Zealots should be able to get some good damage on these Lings. They do get us around,
nice
though.
Round.
Good
and
speed
there's
timing.
A speed coming in. Yep, and he should actually be able to clean this up quite nicely. A few more zealots coming in. And with the DPS from the Queens, that's a really nice defense from SSanaEE.
And see, this is the problem with why I don't necessarily love that he went invested with this. Again, 7 zealots. That's kind of the magic number. 8 zealots. You tear down a third base. HuK actually cleans up the lings, gets 2 zealots alive, which is cool, but no economic damage done. No way to really bust through that natural base. If SSanaEE had a third base and lost it, this would be really good for HuK, but because there was no third, it just ends up being a very awkward trade. Good control of the zealots, though. Oh my god, in the middle of the map. These should have both died, but instead keeps them both alive.
This guy, he needs to calm down. He's a little bit good at this game.
I don't care. People joke about top 3 control all the time. Every time I've cast HuK, he's always done really cool small things like that. Knocking the rocks down the top of his opponent type thing. But yeah, he's going to stay in this really well. Nice force field will completely lock him into his naturals, so there's no way for these lings to get in. SSanaEE's forced to disengage. Now, this is something worth noting too. We see the Mothership Core only just now coming out. And a lot of the times, it's kind of awkward because, you know, how many Protoss players rush for that Mothership Core?
Yeah, exactly.
But this actually makes a lot more sense because he had sacrificed the Mothership Core timing. He ends up getting +1 sooner. He ends up getting his sentry count up a lot higher than it otherwise would have been. I mean, 100 gas for Mothership Core is a lot of gas to spend early on.
Yeah, it certainly is. And with that Robo finishing up, can start maybe pumping out some more walls, and with all those sentries, that'll be quite nice for him to take a third or attack. Do either third base now, gonna get pretty close to finishing up for SSanaEE. And he's heading in towards his own +1 upgrades, the lair and all that stuff we expect. So he's just playing stock standard Zerg, just with a much later third than we would usually see. Lings do come in and scout that the third base is coming down for HuK though. And he's actually going to try and slip past him, but there is a zealot in that doorway. So no entry point for him there, unfortunately.
It's a little bit funny too, with the awkward Mothership Core timing being delayed the way it is, this third actually ends up, it's quote-unquote late, but it ends up timing out perfectly with the way the overcharge worked for the Mothership Core. So if an attack follows this up, HuK should be able to defend it. I mean, you always see the 1 cannon, 2 gateways, it's that perfect sort of Sim City, and you get so much damage that even Hydralists have trouble busting this. But unlike previous games that we've seen on this map, HuK, you know, he's not going for like 4 oracles, for example. He's actually got a decent army composition going for him to contend with what will probably be, you know, roaches and Hydralisks. The Immortals coming out are not going to exactly be super effective, but they still deal a ton of damage.
Yeah, I don't know. I think they'll do quite nicely because if we do see some roaches come in there, they certainly add a lot of beef. But apart from that, you know, he's got the Twilight Council coming up as well, and he could do a really scary sort of 3-base push with this composition that's really difficult for the Zerg to deal with. But just in saying that, he does drop the Colossus down, so that's going to be what he's heading for next.
The Mothership Core got 4 kills, by the way, while dancing within the range of like 4 queens. So dangerous, but so cool. SSanaEE is going to go for that Infestation Pit. Looks like he will possibly be going to that Swarm Host. Now, there's 2 options that come from this. One is, you know, you can assume Infestors, but really Infestors are rarely chosen in PvZ anymore. They're not the Wood Infestors they once were. So we're either going to probably see Swarm Hosts coming out quick, or that Hive for Vipers, anticipating the Colossus. I kind of think, though, leaning towards the Swarm Hosts. This is a really good map for it. And the reason for this is you can set them and forget them from like 5 different locations that can reach all of HuK's bases.
Yeah, true. It's pretty difficult to deal with, especially when you get like so many swarm hosts out on the field that you just send like 1 or 2 to poke at something. It's really annoying. Rocks come down just as these Hydras head across here to try and do an attack. So they can take those out now, but it's going to buy HuK a lot of time. Not that he really needs to buy time. I mean, he's got plenty here to deal with this. He's got lots of force fields at his disposal, and the first Colossus is on its way. It won't be too long before that's out. So there's that Hive starting up from SSanaEE in the meantime. Not going to commit to anything just yet, but probably... Oh, okay, he's already got that 4th hatchery. Never mind, I'm not paying attention.
I mean, the rocks do bought him a little bit of time, but now they're sadly gone for the rest of the game. What's kind of cool is SSanaEE... I was going to say, I like that he had kept the rocks low but not dead, so he could have knocked him down at any point given, but... unfortunately not this case. HuK hallucinating a couple Colossus right now to scout and push, hoping to bait excitement into SSanaEE. I don't know. But it is going to be that Hive tech, so not going for the Swarm Hosts. With the Hive on the way and Vipers to follow up, Vipers paired with Healing Hydra are so good. What's going to actually be really key moving forward, it's not going to be Force Fields nearly as much as I think Hallucinations will be. Because if you waste an Abduct on a Hallucinated Colossus, as a Protoss player, first off, you're kind of snickering, right? You're like, sucker. But it's actually a huge waste of energy, and you can't necessarily auto-win versus HuK's composition if you've got no Abducts.
All right, let's see if HuK can actually get some good work done here. There's a little fair bit of Zerg out already, but of course he's seen this entire composition from SSanaEE.
Good
He's
force
feeling
fields.
very confident. Great force fields right off the bat, and this fourth base does not stand a chance.
I like this too, and HuK can disengage off of this. He's got enough energy on a mothership core. He can either put a time warp down to run away, or just do a full recall. But yeah, he picks the base off. He doesn't over dedicate, and he backs on up. I really like that move. It's so silly to consider, but it's so hard to not tunnel vision and be like, okay, I killed the fourth, let's go kill the third.
Yeah, for sure. If anything strikes me about HuK, is just he's so smart. He just, I don't know. I haven't seen him make a terrible mistake again in the longest time. He's very careful with his play, very calculated as well. And I have to commend him as well on his scouting, because he's just been constantly heading hallucinated phoenixes into the Zerg main, keeping tabs on where that high is at, what's actually coming out. He should know about the Vipers now. And now we have that second influx of gateways coming out from HuK, so the next attack could be really, really scary if it's actually the one where he goes for the big one, goes for the commit. And, yeah.
Okay, so one thing I want to address real quick, and this is kind of funny because I brought it up at the beginning of the broadcast too. We see some people kind of joke in the chat like, oh my god, HuK's not doing an 8-gate all-in. And this is where I find a lot of ignorance comes into, and I'm not calling anyone out specifically on purpose, but this is the thing. Like, you see HuK stream, you see him do 8 gates. You see HuK kind of play whatever, he does these all-ins that don't really matter. But this is the true strength of his playstyle, the fact that he can do this, and a lot of people expect him to do otherwise. Either way, Queen's at the front lines with these Hydras. We got 2 Vipers and only 2 Vipers. Storm is coming out, but it's not done yet.
Oh, look at that time warp.
Oh,
beautiful.
So many Hydras get stuck in this.
Spread out. HuK is gonna rip this to shreds. Nice.
Goes for the blinding clouds. I don't know. I think the Abducts might have been better because now the Colossus have nothing to stop them. The Hydralisks are completely force fielded off. The Nexus will stand, and HuK destroys the army of SSanaEE. That wasn't even close.
Yeah, now he can head back across the map if he wants to and take out that fourth once again, and that's really, really going to be stinging the SSanaEE because he needs that fourth base. HuK is taking his own one, and you never want to be on even base with the Protoss in the first place. And in fact, Caesar's going to head straight towards the throat at the third.
The idea with the Swarm hosts too is you want to have them out to force a player to go Colossus, to catch him with off guard. HuK already has 3. You only need 4 to beat back Locust Waves. He's already prepared for what SSanaEE's coming with, so this is not going to work at all. More consumes going on, but he doesn't have the energy for Blinding Clouds. He doesn't have the energy for the Abducts he needs. This is looking really bad for SSanaEE. HuK is just streaming across the map with a whole lot of reinforcements as well. Storm is now done. He's got 3 different types of attack paths here, and
nice Abduct.
even if these Colossus fall,
second one.
Look at all these storms available. Tempo can now get worked in as well. Archon's in front lines.
He lost too much in that attack. It was such an awkward position for him to attack into, and that's one of the tricky parts of this map. Very hard to be aggressive to your Protoss opponent unless they're heading towards that fourth base and they're a little bit more spread out.
Look at these heroes, by the way. 2 Immortals and 1 Colossus beating back Swarm hosts, so the rest of the army can just gut the third. Infestation Bit is going to die before Enduring Locust completes. That's going to suck a little bit. Or actually, maybe not. Benevolent Base God HuK lets it live.
Either way, there's just so much damage going on here. Locusts doing their best. A few roaches trickling in. He's going to lose his third base. So he's also lost his macro hatchery. So he's kind of struggling on the production front a little bit as well.
But on top of this,
this is so much money.
This is the strength of level 3 Protoss weapons versus 0 armor on a Zerg player. Look how fast those roaches died. Look how fast the Hydralisk died. And HuK backs away from this. He could have tried to dedicate and maybe try and choke off at the natural, but he says, I did more than enough damage. Let's recuperate. Let's get my army. I'm still in the lead. I'm still in a big way ahead. And he knows it. So now Blinkstalker's heading towards the fourth. There's some spine crawls here, but this isn't going to stop this.
No, I mean, HuK could even duck back in towards the third base if he wants to try and take that out again. He's got him in a chokehold right now. There's not many options for SSanaEE, and he's doing basically the only thing that he can do, which is keep making Swarm hosts, and that's probably his best bet at the moment, but he's really stuck. He can't really move out.
I kind of feel like SSanaEE didn't play to the advantage of the map. The Vipers are good in generic, like Frost or something, right? But this is the Swarm host map. This is the map he should have gone for Swarm host first on, and we see them actually buying him some time now. It's something that was not afforded. Oh god, is that what you're pointing at? Yeah, warping in the main. So many zealots just came in. The spine crawlers knows that a chance. This base is gonna fall to the Blinkstalkers, which cleared out those spine crawlers. A couple of locust waves coming to try and deal with this, but HuK is pushing from 3 different locations. He's applying pressure in 3 different places at the same time.
Yeah, there's just not enough money, not enough units for SSanaEE at this point. He's going to be forced to tap out soon, although he does have a decent amount of Swarm hosts, 10. All he has otherwise is like 15 roaches, and that's really not going to cut the mustard in this instance. Colossi still stay alive. Not quite able to get that last one.
What is cutting the mustard?
What? You've never heard that?
No, it's like an Australian thing, I guess.
Oh,
I've heard cut the
God.
cheese, but
Dude, I picked it up from Maynard because he says it all the time. Now it's like I say it all day, every day.
freaking Maynard.
It's not good enough. That's what it means.
Fair enough. I got the gist of it, but not quite gonna get the hive here as HuK. It's gonna get really low, but ro8 should be able to clean this up. One last zealot shipping away, but at this point, it's a slow bleed out. SSanaEE just simply doesn't have the army supply. The Locusts are actually getting beaten back by the Colossus now. The only reason HuK wasn't able to push in for the win was because he had to wait for those Colossus to come out for the Locusts, for the Swarm Host, but he can clean up the Locust Wave, blink on top of the Swarm Host, clean those up rather quickly. Force Field's going down to great effect here as well. And Zealot's just gutting drones. Total of 55 workers killed. HuK hasn't lost a single probe this game, by the way. Not even the probe that came out to put the pylon down earlier.
Crazy. He's just playing so well. This is what I really like right now is that even though he's pretty much killed the Zerg, he's still really careful with his units. Like, as soon as one group is taking a bit of Swarm Host fire, he moves it back, moves something else in on the other side of the map.
It's because he can't
moves that one back, moves the other half in. He's just retaining so much. It's so cost efficient.
I mean, I'm sure there's some guy out there right now who's like, HuK, quit being a pussy, finish the game, but I actually really like the fact that he's playing this safe, because I've seen so many Protoss players throw games in this exact scenario.
Yeah.
Now, granted, he's beat someone back to like 2 bases. The 3rd base is basically non-existent. And
4 observers.
Yeah, this is over. Don't get me wrong, guys. But again, HuK doesn't necessarily know that. So playing safe and sorry. Abduct's going off. Zealot's massively warped and get on top of the Locusts. Get on top of the Swarm Hosts. And SSanaEE's about to bleed out. Good game. Finally called. Evil Genius's HuK will take game number 1 in this best of 3.